channel. I'm back to break down this 14-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into the breakdown, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And lastly, if you are interested in some premium content from me, I do offer that. That's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own MLB DFS lineup. So I'd highly recommend that. Check it out. I think it's going to make you a much more profitable player very quickly. And with all of that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today. As always, I'd like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. Figure out the top pitchers you want to target on today's slate, and then we'll head into the bats we really want to target on the latter half of the video. Corbin Burnes, top guy on the slate by far today in K rate, 35.1% K overall with a 16.3 swinging strike rate, 37.8% K rate against righties, and a 32.7% K rate against lefties. He's very good across the board as far as slugging to both sides of hitting, as well as ground ball, fly ball, wobble, all of that stuff. And the only bad thing he really has going on for him today is the matchup taken on the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds are a very good lineup up and down. They do have their fair share of strikeouts, though, and then when you're looking at the Vegas totals, they only have a 3.12 implied run total. So that's telling us Vegas has a lot of respect for Burnes. I'd expect him to still be the top option on the slate here tonight, from a pure strikeout aspect, of course. 11.5 on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They have him priced at 10.6. Top price guy on the slate, and I would say for good reason. So definitely have some interest in Corbin Burnes tonight for sure. Second on the list, we have Tanner Houck taking on the Minnesota Twins. He comes in with a 31.9% K rate overall, 13.4 swinging strike rate, 38.2% K rate against righties, and a 25% K rate against lefties. And looking at his recent performances as far as what he's been able to do, for pitch count, etc., you can see last time out only 58 pitches. The time before 89, the time before 74, the time before 75. So it's a little bit interesting to see like what his pitch count's going to be. Minor options remaining. Houck was sent back down, and then he's going to be brought back up. Let's see. He's been pretty good for them overall, and I'm not really sure as far as pitch count. I was looking for a little bit of a report on that. I'd expect him to be somewhere around like 75 pitches. That would be my anticipated, pitch count for him. And he has been really good. He's taken on a Minnesota squad that can definitely strike out. It's just a matter of if you can really afford to play a guy that's a limited pitch count on such a huge slate. On FanDuel, he's 6'7". That's, if he was minimum salary, then we might be talking a little bit. And then over on DraftKings, he's 7'9", same thing. I mean, if we get a report that he's really expected to stretch his arm out, then I might have a lot more interest in him. Really just keep your eye on that report. Dylan Cease taking on Toronto. It's a no for me. He does have a really high strikeout rate, but his hard contact stuff against righties just isn't good, and he has a walk rate as well, which could cause him some issues against this Toronto Blue Jays lineup. Yu Darvish is coming back off the IL as far as his limitations and his pitch count. That is to be determined. Let's see. 10-day injured list. Have him start the teams after throwing a pair of bullpen sessions over the weekend without an incident, without having a minor league rehab start, and that's going to be obviously a big deal for them. He's been out since the 12th, but I expect him to be somewhat limited. Nothing crazy, but maybe around like 70-something pitches, similar to Houck that we just talked about. And he's taking on the Dodgers team tonight. I'm really not interested in targeting him. Luis Garcia is taking on the Kansas City Royals. They're a team that's starting to strike out a lot more with some of the bottom of their lineup. 28.9% K overall, a 14% swinging strike rate, 30.3% K rate against righties, and a 27.4% K rate against lefties for Luis Garcia. And he can be very good. He's a little bit of a raw talent. He can get a little wild at times, but the strikeout rate's always going to be there. And he's taking on the Royals team that, as I mentioned, towards the bottom of the order with guys like Ryan O'Hearn. You got Hunter Dozier. Michael Taylor's been striking out a lot. Maybe we can get some more strikeouts than anticipated towards the beginning of the season for this lap. However, with that being said, at the same time, the top of the lineup is pretty pesky with guys that don't strike out quite as much. So, Luis Garcia, 245 favorite, expected to get the win. Of course, we always want that in our daily fantasy sports lineups. So you can definitely be looking at him. He is 8.3 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9.7. So definitely take the discount on FanDuel with him at 8.3 if you can. If you're playing on multiple sites, he's been right around the upper 80s of pitches as well, so a little bit of a limited pitch count for him. Drew Rasmussen taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. He's had a very good K rate so far with a 28.6% K overall. Hard contact's been a bit of an issue, but he does have a 26.5% K rate against righties and a 32.8% K rate against lefties. Has been very, very good against left-handed hitting in particular when it comes to K rate. Has been pretty good overall, and then when you're looking at the Vegas lines as far as what Philadelphia is expected to go up or put up for runs, they do only have a 4.36 implied run total. It's really just a matter of the pitch count. When looking at him once again, we're dealing with like around 50 pitches. So, I mean, it's just really hard to be playing a guy that's on that limited of a pitch count. You have Charlie Morton taking on the New York Yankees. Their team that strikes out a bunch. This is probably going to be the first guy that we're really excited about the matchup and the leash of him. He's a 28.4% K overall, a 12.3 swinging strike rate, 25.9% carried against righties, and a 31.6% carried against lefties. And that's definitely going to pay off for him in this particular matchup taking on this New York Yankees squad. They only have a 4.12 implied run total. And I do think that Martin's going to be a tremendous high upside option. He's 9.6 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, they have him priced at $9K. Looking at some of his recent performances, you can see 89, 95, 85, 87, 89 pitches, 9Ks, 7Ks, 7Ks, 6Ks. We'd like to see him go a little bit deeper into ball games if he can. I think he is capable, and he might be able to get up to like 100 pitches or so against a competitive team like the Yankees. We'll see, but regardless, he's going to have a lot of upside. And the same is going to go for Tyler Mahle taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, another guy with a high upside that's going to be taking on a team that strikes out a lot. A 28% K overall, 12% swinging strike rate, 25% K rate against righties, and a 31.5% K rate against lefties. Has actually been a lot more dominant against left-handed pitching when you're breaking down his splits. And when you're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers lineup that they're expected to roll out tonight, you can see that they do have quite a few of lefties. They have Colton Wong, Christian Yelich, Eduardo Escobar, Omar Narvaez, Rowdy Tellez, Jackie Bradley. And while some people might view that as being a bad thing with him taking on those lefties, if you really break down the numbers, it could actually be a very good thing for his upside. So Tyler Mahle definitely going to be an interesting option for sure. Justin Steele taking on the Colorado Rockies as far as his pitch count capabilities. Seems like we're going to have a lot of these on the slate. He's been right around like 80 pitches as of late. I mean, the last time 80 pitches, 5 Ks, 2 earned runs. Maybe he can get back up there again. He's 6'5" on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, they have him priced at 5.7. I do really enjoy targeting the Colorado Rockies when they're on the road. It's in Coors Field, 88 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing up. That's less than ideal. But taking on a Colorado squad with a really good ground ball fly ball rate, a 24.2% carry against the righties and a 34.3% carry against lefties. You can make an argument for him when he's really cheap, like specifically on FanDuel at 5.7 if you really need that salary. You might be able to go out there and have a decent enough outing to really get the job done for you there. Andrew Heaney taking on the Atlanta Braves. He'll definitely have the upside. He has a 29.3% carry against righties. He can strike out them with the best of it when he's on. But the problem is, when he is not on, he is a little bit of an issue. Really bad ground ball, fly ball stuff, hard contact stuff's really bad. Can definitely cause issues. Taking on an Atlanta Braves team tonight that it has added some guys that are really good against left-handed pitching. It's a little bit scary for me. I had some interest in some of these Atlanta Braves power righties last night. I think I'm going to have some interest in them again. Just a little scary targeting Heaney in this particular matchup, I think. Jack Flaherty taking on the Detroit Tigers. Tremendous matchup. One of the best matchups on the board you could ask for. He has a 26.9% K overall, a 31% carry against righties, and a 23.2% carry against lefties. And the Detroit Tigers strike out a bunch. As far as the Vegas lines are concerned, the Tigers, let's see, come in with a 3.11 implied run total. It's in St. Louis, which is a great pitching ballpark for Flaherty. He's 10-3 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 9.6. And he's been right around like low 90s pitches last time. 8 strikeouts against that Milwaukee squad we just talked about that can be K-happy with 2 earned runs. Taking on a Detroit squad tonight in a great matchup. He's definitely going to be a tremendous option for you. German Marquez taking on the Chicago Cubs, a lineup that's really washed up now, is going to be another guy that I'm getting excited to play at 25.1% K overall. Really good ground ball, fly ball stuff. 352 slugging given up to righties, a 361 slugging given up to lefties with a 30.5% K rate to righties and a 20.8% K rate to lefties. So we do prefer to target him against very right-handed heavy lineups, if at all possible. And when you're looking at the Cubbies up and down, pretty respectable blend, honestly. Nothing too crazy, but this lineup's just so washed up now with a lot of the trades of, Baez is gone, Anthony Rizzo's gone. They just blew up the whole operation, and it's going to be a good lineup to target. And German Marquez really does have some good K stuff, so I have some interest in him. Jose Berrios taking on the Chicago White Sox. They're a team that can really mash, but they also do strike out a lot. He's really good against right-handed hitting, and that's mostly what the Chicago White Sox are known for. Only a 260 slugging given up. When he struggled, it's really been the lefties. He has a 24.3% carry against those righties. So I think that Jose Berrios is also in a very high upside spot here. Can do a good job of limiting that hard contact to those righties. Can get a lot of strikeouts out of those righties and really have a good game. He's a 129 favorite. He's 8.5 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have a price at 8.6. And he would probably be the last option on the slate that I'm really getting all too excited to play. JT Brubaker taking on the Diamondbacks could be an interesting one just because the Diamondbacks really aren't that good. He does have a decent amount of K rate, even though he's been a little bit rough around the edges on the season. And that's all. I mean, you got Dylan Buddy taking on Baltimore. They could be a team you're looking to target, but he just really doesn't interest me. And the same is going to apply for Eric Fetty taking on Miami. Fetty might be an interesting option. Miami's just that bad, but overall, that's about all that I'm looking for. And with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, skill and active ERA from worst to best. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far on the season and how good they're expected to be in the future. And the worst on the slate today is going to be Spencer Watkins taking on the Los Angeles Angels. He comes into this matchup looking really bad across the board with a 40 innings pitch sample size. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's good. Hard contact stuff not good. He gives up a 544 slugging to righties, a 405 slugging to lefties. Has been a lot more effective against lefties on the season, but overall, the guy's just been terrible. So you can definitely be targeting some Los Angeles Angels bats tonight. While they don't have the most dominant lineup in the world, they do have a 5.63 implied run total. It's on the road in Camden Yards. This is a great hitting environment. Both pitchers in this game just really not good. Pulling up the diagram as far as Camden Yards, you can see a lot of green as far as home runs. Love targeting this ballpark for home runs, and definitely going to be one that I'm targeting when Spencer Watkins is on the bump. So you have Shohei Ohtani, he's going to be a tremendous play. David Fletcher, Justin Upton, Jared Walsh, Max Stassi, Jose Iglesias, Brandon Marsh, Joe Dell, Jack Mayfield. While this may not be the most exciting lineup in the world when they're in a matchup like this and they're taking on the Baltimore Orioles bullpen, you got to have interest in them for sure. So I definitely like the Angels stack. Jesus Luzardo taking on the Washington Nationals. He's been really bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff hasn't moved. The only good thing he has going on for him is his swing and strike rate. But he's still giving up a 582 slugging to righties, a 509 slugging to lefties. Has been a lot better against lefties than righties, so the Washington righties are really going to be the ones that you're looking to target in this particular matchup. And when breaking down the lineup, they're expected to roll out. The problem is it's in Miami. It's really not a good hitting ballpark. They only have a 4.25 implied run total. If you want to go to these righties, they'll definitely be low owned. You got Lane Thomas, Alcides Escobar, Josh Bell, Carter Kieboom, Victor Robles, Riley Adams. It's really not a good lineup. And then if you want to one-off Soto and Luis Garcia, that lower ownership, sure. I'm not getting too excited to target that, even with how bad Jesus Luzardo has been. Griffin Jack's taking on Boston. He's been terrible. Ground ball, fly ball stuff, terrible. Hard contact stuff, terrible. A 557 slugging given up to righties. A 361 slugging given up to lefties. I think he has had some decent performances as of late. I will say he's starting to look a lot better. But looking at the game logs, you can see 2, 3, 1, 1, 1 earned run. And yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird. His numbers are definitely contradicting themselves a little bit here, but overall, I tend to think I'm going to rely on those hard contact numbers. He really just hasn't been that good. And the fact that the Boston Red Sox lineup is just a really good one up and down. Specifically, the righties you're going to want to have a lot of interest in based upon his splits. Enrique Hernandez, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez, Hunter Renfroe, Bobby Dahlbeck all have a lot of power. And I'm not scared of targeting the lefties whatsoever. Put in Rafael Devers, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Verdugo. Feel really good about it. Christian Vasquez continues to be the odd man out as far as the guy that I'm really not getting too excited to play. But with that being said, if he fits salary-wise in my lineup, I know a lot of people are going to have him. I have no issues with making a part of my stack. Eric Fetty taking on Miami. I'd already mentioned 9 games, expected to have low run totals. Honestly, I'd rather lean playing Eric Fetty than targeting him with Miami bats. I'm just not really all that interested there. Dylan Bundy taking on Baltimore in that game in Camden Yards. He's been terrible as well, similar to Spencer Watkins that we discussed. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. Hard contact stuff bad. A 515 slugging given up to righties. A 448 slugging given up to lefties. That's just not good. The Baltimore Orioles are definitely going to be a team that piques my interest tonight. Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle, Trey Mancini, Anthony Santander, DJ Stewart, Pedro Severini, Ramon Urias, Kelvin Gutierrez now, Jemai Jones at the bottom. Definitely have interest in stacking up these Orioles. For sure. I mean, my favorite options would be the core of that order, of course, the guys with the most power. I mean, Cedric Mullins at the top is going to be a tremendous play as well. Really have a lot of interest in him. Casey Mize taking on St. Louis. I'm not going to be interested in stacking up St. Louis too that much, I don't think, but the lefties are where you're going to have interest in. Any lefty that cracks the lineup in St. Louis, you got to have interest in. Mize is just that bad against lefties. They really don't have a lot of lefties, unfortunately, but Tommy Edman, Lars Nootbaar are going to be the guys that you're really looking to there for one-offs if you'd like. Taylor Hearn taking on Cleveland. He's a guy that's really easy to break down, really bad against righties, really good against lefties, really bad ground ball, fly ball stuff, walk rates against righties with a 442 slugging given up. Taking on a Cleveland Indian squad, so you really want to target these power righties if you're going here tonight. They do have a 5.07 implied run total. It's 86 degrees with 3-mile-an-hour winds blowing out in Cleveland. As far as how that left field porch plays in Cleveland, pulling up the diagram, you can see here, not all too friendly. But when you're taking on a guy that gives up as much hard contact as Hearn, we can make an exception for some of these guys. You know, most notably Ahmed Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Friamel Reyes, Wilson Ramos. Reyes and Ramos in the middle of that order really both match left-handed pitching, so you got to have a lot of interest in them. Honestly, once you get down past them, though, things get a little bit scary. You can definitely go to them because they're going to be lower owned. But the Cleveland Indians stack's going to be viable. It's just this lineup's not that great. Brady Singer taking on Houston. He has been really good as far as slugging, giving up to righties for the most part. Against lefties has really been his struggle. So the Houston lefties are going to be definitely in play against Singer tonight. Michael Brantley, Jordan Alvarez, and Jason Castro. They're really going to be the ones that I'm most interested in for sure in this lineup. Madison Bumgarner taking on Pittsburgh. He's been really bad across the board all season long. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good. Hard contact stuff's not good. A 423 slugging given up to righties. So the Pittsburgh righties are definitely going to be ones that you could target tonight. They only have a 4.25 implied run total, but if you want to get them low owned, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Jacob Stallings, Anthony Alford, Michael Chavis from Mashes lefties. Kevin Newman's been good against lefties. So there's a low owned stack for you there. Eli Morgan taking on Texas has been really bad. The problem is Texas' lineup is terrible. So you can see they only have a 3.93 implied run total, even though they're taking on Eli Morgan. Still can get them low owned. You got Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe in the middle of the order, DJ Peter, Jason Martin, Nate Solak, Kenner Fafel at the top, Yanni Hernandez has been pretty good. If you want to go to them, I wouldn't call you crazy here. JT Brubaker in that same Arizona game, if you want to target the Arizona bats, he has a 500 slugging given up to lefties, a 479 slugging given up to righties, so you can definitely stack up Arizona. It's a little bit of a less ideal ballpark. This game was the one that was the most popular on last night's slate, but it was a much smaller slate. Josh Rojas, Ketel Marte, Pavin Smith, Christian Walker, David Peralta, Josh Van Meter. I really don't hate it taking on Brubaker. I also don't hate playing Brubaker. I mentioned I think he has some high upside. Sam Long taking on the New York Mets. Really, really bad in ground ball, fly ball rate. Really, really bad against righties in particular with a 521 slugging, giving up a 387 WOBA. That's terrible. So all of the New York Mets righties are going to be in play here. The only downside is that it's in New York. It's really not the best hitting environment. But Pete Alonso, Javi Baez, J.D. Davis, Brandon Drury, Jonathan Villar, Kevin Pillar. I'm really going to have interest in all those righties for sure. I mean, Sam Long's just been that bad against right-handed hitting. Andrew Heaney, the same rule is going to apply for him. Definitely have interest in targeting the Atlanta Braves power righties, as mentioned, with a 473 slugging unit, bad ground ball, fly ball stuff. He does strike out a lot of hitters, so that's the risk that you run with stacking up the Braves. But as far as the righties with the power, I do think that they do have a ton of upside here. And, I mean, they have righties that match lefties across the board. Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Adam Duvall, William Contreras, Heredia. And then Freddie Freeman's really matchup proof. You can target him against anyone. So while Heaney has been good, bad against righties, he's been pretty bad against lefties as well, and I think that Freeman could be a great play, and he even has a lower strikeout rate against lefties with only a 22% K rate against lefties, so you can argue it's an even better matchup. The Giants lefties against Magel, he's been really, really bad across the board against lefties, real bad in the ground ball, fly ball stuff, real bad in the slugging rate, and the Giants do have a very good lineup up and down, very full of left-handed power, so I think this could be a low-end spot that could really pay off for you in tournaments. They only have a 4.11 run total. Lamonte Wade, Tommy La Stella, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, Alex Dickerson, Mike Yastrzemski, all lefties. So I actually think that's a pretty exciting low-end spot for you there. And then just a couple more spots really on the slate that we're looking to. It's really going to be Molly and Steele, both these guys against right-handed power. But even then, both their ground ball, fly ball rates are pretty respectable. Or so Steele's. I mean, Colorado's just, there's not really a lot of options with right-handed power. There are a couple. Milwaukee, kind of the same rules are going to apply to them. I mean, Colorado, you can be targeting Brendan Rodgers, Trevor Story, CJ Cron. They all match lefties. The wind is blowing out there, so I wouldn't call you crazy. And then Molly, I mean, I'm not getting too excited, but Avisail Garcia would be the one. Willie Adames would be the one, and that's about it for this slate today. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Anthony Santander taking on Dylan Mundy. We mentioned his hard contact issues across the board. Has really not been good all season long, with a 515 slugging given up to righties, a 448 slugging given up to lefties. Santander, a very dangerous switch hitter here. That gets a great matchup, specifically when breaking down Bunny and what he likes to go to against lefties. Very reliant on the fastball changeup combination. Goes to the fastball 43% of the time, the changeup 30% of the time, and Anthony Santander crushes most of those pitches. Fastball looking at about a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and Santander features a 250 ISO with a 328 WOBA. And then when Bunny's going to break out the changeup, we're not too worried about that either, because Santander features a 255 ISO with a 312 WOBA. Game's being played in Camden Yards tonight. Great hitting environment, great hitting weather, 88 degrees now. Ball should carry well. Love the spot overall for this Orioles offense. Love the spot for Santander in the cleanup spot. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Anthony Santander, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.